Hello and welcome. My name is Dave Berger, and this is my 5-minute opinion. Episode 3, Artemis aims for giant leaps over Apollo. When I was 9 years old, a half a century ago, I was a Cub Scout. The highlight of that year was Expo 72 at the Minneapolis Auditorium on Saturday, December 2nd, 1972. Scouts from all over the state displayed a variety of exhibits at that event. The booths included a model volcano, an electric arc, and a perpetual motion machine. My favorite exhibit was that of the Apollo 17 lunar mission, which was scheduled to lift off just 4 days after the expo. This detailed display included models of the Saturn V rocket, the Command Module America, the Lunar Module Challenger, and the lunar rover itself. Information in this exhibit indicated that Apollo 17 would be our last lunar mission. After discovering this, I asked my parents if I could stay up late to watch the launch, just after the Sonny and Cher comedy hour on CBS. Unfortunately, the liftoff was delayed by a few hours because of a hardware problem, and I was unceremoniously sent off to bed. But being a steadfast, persistent junior astronaut, I snuck down to quietly watch the launch on our black and white television in our living room. Apollo 17 looked monumental during its takeoff that Wednesday, December 6, 1972, at 11:33 p.m. I remember how powerful the rocket seemed, with smoke and fire billowing from Launch Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center on Merritt Island in Florida. Almost 50 years later, I watched the Artemis 1 lift off on Wednesday, November 16th, 2022 at 12:47 a.m. This time, instead of watching this lunar mission launch in black and white on grainy analog network broadcast television, I watched it in color on the streaming internet feed at nasa.gov. Just like Apollo 17, Artemis 1 was launched from Kennedy Space Center, but this time from Launch Pad 39B. The two liftoffs were separated by almost 50 years, but they had many similarities. Both countdowns had delays, both missions followed many of the same procedures, and both were quite successful. While there are many similarities between the Lunar Apollo and Artemis programs, there are distinct differences as well. Apollo was the Greek and Roman god of archery, associated with the sun, while Artemis was the Greek goddess of archery and the hunt, associated with the moon. Apollo and Artemis are fraternal twins born of Zeus and Leto, and considered by many as being opposite sides of the same coin. These two lunar programs had vastly different missions. Apollo 1 was a crewed mission with command pilot Gus Grissom, senior pilot Ed White, and pilot Roger B. Chaffee. On January 27, 1967, during a launch rehearsal, a cabin fire caused by faulty wiring raced through the oxygen-rich environment, killing all 3 astronauts. Learning a lesson from Apollo 1, NASA decided to make Artemis 1 an uncrewed mission to safely test the new Space Launch System, or SLS, and the Orion spacecraft. While Artemis 1 has had a successful launch and mission, the rocket was so powerful that it damaged Pad 39B, blowing in its elevator doors. NASA will learn from this and make Artemis 2 a safer experience for the astronauts that will crew that mission in 2024. The 24 Apollo astronauts who flew to the moon were all white males. 22 of them were members of the military. The astronauts in the Artemis program were a much more representative group of our population. It is apropos that the Artemis program is named for a female god. Of the 18 astronauts currently in the Artemis program, 9, 50%, are women, and 9, again 50%, are people of color. Only 11 are military members. In addition to greater diversity, the Artemis program has a broader scope than the Apollo program. Artemis plans to use the moon as a stepping stone to Mars, with many more civilian scientists than Apollo. Artemis is the beginning of the human colonization of our solar system. Thanks for joining me. I hope that you have an excellent day.